Hey guys, welcome back to the Interceptor. We're here with another Alliance War video, and this is going to be Alliance War Season 55, Number 6, AOH versus CZSK. And we have 15 fights today, 6 on my main, and then a 9-fight war on my ult where I take every fight except for the boss. And yeah, we just had a very interesting war today. I didn't have a lot of difficult fights, but as the title reads, I am going to have a death in this war, which is going to come due to a bug, which I love so much. Did I play perfect? No. Actually, wait, did I even get hit other than the bug? No, I didn't. I guess I did play perfect. But anyways, yeah, we're going to have Dex fail in a situation where there was nothing preventing it. And it is going to cause a very easy fight that was genuinely like a fight I was not even slightly worried about to become a death. So you'll see what happens. And it's actually right here. It's in this first fight, right at the start of the fight. So I'm going to knock down with an L1, bait the L2. I'm going to Dex, and Dex doesn't work. So I am going to play this fight out, and then we will go back to why I know for a fact it was a bug and I did not miss the Dex. I went back in slow motion. I did everything I could to double check, to make sure. And I was really hoping right here that I would get a good opening to try to end the fight, but I just couldn't, and the L2 is going to kill me on the block. Let's go to the fight. So I was pretty mad, but I ended up finishing my fights right after, and then I went back. I slowed down the video frame by frame in the app iMovie, which is how I use which is the app I use to like look at all this stuff, and I got this screenshot. This is the exact same frame that Shocker's SP2 landed, and Stealthy, as you can very clearly see, is in the middle of a Dex. Not at the end of a Dex, like literally right in the middle. And there is this little, like, very strange thing that happens when both champions are on their ends of the screen. Like, they both recently dashed back within the last half second or so. And whenever you dash back when you're that far apart, your Dex is very short. Like it's severely shortened. However, here, I just don't see an explanation for this. I've watched the video back. I've slowed it down. I just simply did not Dex late. That's as simple as I can put it. I have gone through this video so many times. I'm not one to excuse my deaths and say, oh, I didn't make any mistakes. Like, yeah, I played like absolute shit in that bullseye fight with Onslaught. I deserve to die 100%. Here, I definitely did not deserve to die. And if people are going to go in the comments and say, oh, you missed the Dex, you Dexed early, you're wrong. Like, you just don't have the access to the video that I have. You haven't slowed it down. You haven't checked the frames in which Dex can activate. I Dexed in a time where the frames should have allowed me to avoid the attack, and for some reason they just didn't. I'm not going to go on and on about this, so let's just go on to the cleanup for the fight. I'm just going to skip forward a little bit. Obviously, there was an opportunity for me to save this fight. What it would have required is right here, I would have had to get a heavy attack out of Shocker, and then this combo, if I had continued it and finished the combo, would have finished off the fight. Unfortunately, because Shocker was not willing to throw a special attack there, his heavy attack there, and the debuff immunity was up, so I couldn't parry, there was nothing I could do there. And you may say, oh, you could have dashed back and paused the Fury with Stealthy's pause to prevent the protection from coming back. Yeah, and then Shocker would have thrown an L2 right into my block and killed me anyways. Because while it is physically possible to Dex his L2, you don't do it in war. I've done it once ever, and it was a complete fluke. So, yeah, we're going to start off the war dying to a bug, which I love so much. The Dex bug, it's so rare that it happens in scenarios where you can 100% tell that that's what it is, that for so long I thought it was just fixed. Clearly not. So either like one of two things happened. Either Stealthy's animations are on the decks are wrong and the frames are not working as they're supposed to, or it's a dex bug. Those are the two possibilities. Maybe his dashback just isn't working properly, but either way you look at it, it's still a bug. So yeah, without that happening, I solo the fight very, very easily, ending around probably 75% from the necessary block damage I have to take. But let's just get past that. We'll go on to the next fight. We have this Negasonic Teenage Warhead here, and this is with Guardian. I've taken this fight on this node before. She did not want to throw her L1 in this fight, so she definitely made it take a little bit longer. But as soon as we get to L2, the fight's going to be over anyways, so not too much to worry about. We throw our L1. I believe I did have an SP1 boost on here. But yeah, here I think we're going to go for a heavy attack. That is just to reset the her evade timer. And then here we are going to throw the L2 right after my striker so that the shock does more damage, because she'll have a shock vulnerability on her. And yeah, that wipes her out. If she'd been willing to throw all ones in that fight, could have cut down to about 15 seconds. Should have really been a 30-second fight. But yeah, I just didn't want to do that today. So here we have Black Panther. And Black Panther is actually going to get a little bit sketchy here, because when he throws his L1, he is going to gain 2 cleanse charges. And at one point in this fight, I think I don't have my slow up, and I'm not able to get it back because I don't have, or because he has cleanses. And while he's not tactic, you can't heavy counter heavy, or I guess you can't hit him with a heavy attack whatsoever in any scenario. And then there he decided to be super nice, hitting into my block, no heavy attacks. Here we're going to remove the protection, and then soon we are going to be resetting the slow to get our fury. Truthfully, I don't really know how his stun reflect works. I know he needs charges to do it. I just don't know exactly how it works. I know that before his buff, he had to have an armor up. But I don't think that's the case anymore. I think it works completely differently now. So I'm just not willing to risk it, really. And we're just going to play the slow. So now that the protection is up and I don't have a slow up, I'm not able to hit him with a heavy attack or anything. So I just have to try to get out of my corner, throw an SP1 as soon as I can. There we hit a really nice intercept. And the fight is going to go down. It doesn't really become that sketchy. It's just mostly the block damage that we took right off the start of the fight that's a little scary. There I probably should have finished a combo to push him to an L2. But he is going to throw this L2 instantly, which is really nice, because I would have had to block it if he didn't throw it right away, because I would have been in my own corner. And then here, I think we're just going to combo, striker combo, finish the fight off. But took 44% there in block damage, so that's not super fun. But, I mean, there's nothing we can do about that. So let's go into our next fight here. We have Sasquatch on the node that gets energizes when the defender shrugs off debuffs. Sasquatch is not going to gain, or he's not going to shrug anything off, so the node's just never going to activate. I don't even know why this placement is here, because it's not even a path split. Because any tactic that can take Sassy can also take Black Panther. So, I don't know. Really weird decision. A way to split the paths, but maybe they're just thinking, oh, they'll probably send a science tactic here, so let's place a generic skill defender. I don't know. Not going to try to speculate on that. But yeah, Sassy really easy. I'm used to fighting Sassy on node 38. There I actually did get caught, and my evade did save me. But to be fair, the evade chance is like 70-something%. So it's basically guaranteed to get you out of one combo before it comes back, which is really, really nice. Not something that comes into play super often with Stealthy, but definitely nice when it does. And yeah, this is just basically an easier version of the Sassy I normally take, so I'm not too worried about it. Just gonna bait the L2 while he's in Wrath, combo him. We do have Despair on, so the healing is being minimized. And as long as he wants to throw a few specials, this fight is gonna go down pretty soon. And not much to worry about. For our mini bosses, we have Node 38 Sentinel coming up next, which is going to be a pretty fun fight because we've actually died to that fight when we tried to send Beta Ray Bill earlier this season. And I said, okay, I can take it with Stealthy. They were worried the fight would take too long. Just watch the fight. It does not take very long. I mean, obviously, anyone fighting Sentinel that's not a champ that does like burst damage or DOT damage is going to take a while. Here I was counting the energy to make sure I could get to my last fight. But yeah, the Sentinel's going to be very, very easy as long as I get tactic up and everything. The fight's going to go down. I am once again going to completely ignore the analysis charges, just like I did when I took him on the boss node in War 4. Here, I don't know why I'm starting or I'm not starting the fight. I think I was just like, I don't even know. I don't even have an explanation for what I was doing there. But yeah, Sentinel gonna go pretty easily. Nothing really going on here. I think I actually cleared first on my ult this war because my fights were open earlier. But yeah, I always show my main first, whether it actually happened first or not. There I hit a parry. I don't know what I was thinking. For some reason, my brain thought I still, like I either had a Wags or he wasn't stun immune because I just trusted the parry and got comboed afterwards. So that was lots of fun. There is one point in this fight where Sentinel is going to gain quite a lot of prowesses because he just refuses to throw his special 1. But he has such an easy L1 to dex and counter that I'm not even slightly worried about it. Want to make sure not to throw the L2 in this fight because the damage on Stealthy specials is almost nothing anyways, and we don't want to trigger the debuff immunity to remove our slow and have the tactic potentially activate. So we're just going to combo like normal, but as you can see, we are critting a decent amount. I mean, with Stealthy versus Scorpion, Stealthy versus Sentinel, you are critting about 20% of the time versus Stealthy's normal 70-ish% of the time. I'd say on average with Stealthy, it's like, I don't know, probably around 75%. I'd say he crits 3/4 of the time with his precision up, or just around there. And against Sentinel, it does get reduced. Now, it gets reduced so much that a lot of champions actually physically cannot crit Sentinel if they don't have an increased crit rate, because he will reduce it to 0. But obviously, Stealthy is a champion with increased crit rate. So, yeah. Here, unfortunately, what the strat that we normally use to finish off fights with Stealthy by comboing Striker combo is not something we could do at that point because the crit rate is low enough that it is very possible and not even that unlikely that we are going to get no crits on our combo. And if I do that, I push him to an L2. It just not super fun. We're not trying to do that. So here we have our final fight of the war, and this is going to be Prowler on 47, 46, 47, 44. Yeah, 47. Very easy fight. I've taken this before. I think it was either War 3 or 4. It was definitely not last war, but it was recently that I took this fight. Very, very easy placement. I've said so many times that I don't think Prowler's a good defender and that he is not going to get placed as soon as this tactic is over. But this is kind of just a real joke. I mean, I don't even understand the node placement here. Maybe if you send a champion that doesn't counter miss and you have to bait like twice the L1s that you can't counter, it's a good placement. But even then, it's like, I don't even think it's a good placement then, because even someone like Luke Cage could just destroy this fight. Even having to bait twice as many L1s or having to bait an L2. But yeah, they placed it. I'm not going to complain. I saw this fight and I knew instantly, oh yeah, I'm getting assigned that fight with Stealthy. And it's going to be really easy. So I think I am going to throw my L2. No, I'm not. Okay, that's good. And then here, 22%. I know at this point I can combo, striker combo, finish off the fight. Could have done it earlier. Probably could have done about 30% of his health with that, but we played it safe. We got that fight down, and that is it for my 6 fights on my main account. So let's go over to my alt account now. I was wrong, by the way. I did clear first on my main. I don't know why I had it in my head that I cleared first on my alt. Probably because I clear first on my alt next war. And I'm going to be clearing my fights on my alt in about an hour, and then on my main about 6 hours after that. So we have a nice 9-fight war here on my alt account with Luke Cage, and I forget who the other attacker is because I'm just blanking. Luke. Bro, who is it? Am I tweaking right now? I'm tweaking. I don't know. I forget who my other attacker is. This was last war. This was literally 2 days ago. And I just have no idea who I used. Yeah, we're throwing on Science Power Back Boost because I know I have a lot of Luke Cage fights. Ultron! Right, I take Weapon X on that Hazard Shift mini so much that the wars just all blend together and I completely forget which wars I actually have the fight in. But Destroyer on this node, very easy. There is the damage back from the when you crit, but the tactic's going to take care of that. Other than that, we are just going to push Destroyer to a special 2. Let him throw it if he ever wants to. The L2 is very, very easy to deck, so you never have to worry about it. But, yeah, I don't know. Really easy fight. L2 got really good crits, and we're just going to finish off the fight. I have one fight in this war, I remember, that I thought was going to be pretty sketchy and a pretty long fight, and then I got a full crit L2 with Luke, and the fight was just over out of nowhere, and I was like, what? Okay, this Sauron, in hindsight, I should have used Luke for. I didn't realize how brutal of a fight this would be with Ultron. This is going to really suck. And on paper, Ultron versus Sauron on a lot of nodes makes sense. On this node, there's so much prowess that you just cannot control the unblockable. It's basically going to be active the entire fight no matter what. And yeah, we're going to have a very fun time with it. Also, this person is running unfazed, which is pretty common, but we're going to get so many unfazed triggers in this fight. It's insane. So the first time it happens, I usually expect that people don't run unfazed, so I don't even bother checking. So there I just countered the first L1, but that on that L1, 2 of the hits triggered unfazed, which is just amazing. And I think by the end of the fight, we're going to get like 6 unfazed triggers or something like that. At this point in the fight's looking pretty good. Unfortunately, Sauron is going to stop throwing L1s, and I am going to get put in a scenario where I can't really do anything because he's just fully unblockable. And it's not super nice. There we get, oh, there's our 7th trigger of the fight. There he had too many prowesses. If I'd tried to parry, he would have gone unblockable. So we have to intercept with an L2 and bait one more L1, but it looks like the DOT is going to finish him off first. Yeah. So like I said, I wish I'd used Luke Cage for that fight. I would have just nuked it. The L2 would have helped with slowing the prowess gain with the concussion, but it's okay because it worked out. Here on this next fight, we have Longshot. Longshot with Luke. Pretty normal fight. We are going to obviously get Hazard Shift triggering on every single hit because of Luke Cage's personal increased ability accuracy. However, we don't have to worry about that with the tactic. So at the very beginning of the fight, the first few hits that we have obviously are going to be shocking us before we have the ability to to get the debuffs up to stop the damage. But there I forgot that because of his increased ability accuracy reduction, the unstoppable on every single buff is actually guaranteed. So it's not just an RNG versus Longshot, it is guaranteed, which I did know. I just wasn't really thinking about it at the time. So we're just going to keep throwing L1s, keep our stuff up, keep baiting L1s. Although I think, yeah, I push him to L2 here. Gonna go for a heavy attack. Bait the L2, and I think we just finish the fight off right here. Beautiful. Beautiful. 1 minute, full health with Luke Cage. Let's go on to our next fight. We have this Adam Warlock. Now, Adam Warlock is not tactic, which means that Luke will not be reducing the damage of the hazard shift unless he has his own debuffs up, which is why I was okay with this matchup. My officer asked me, and I said, yes, this is totally fine. I'll just use my exhaustions to work for the tactic. We are going to obviously make the decision, as I do in every single fight on this node, to eat the damage reflection at the start of the fight in order to to prepare the fight for safety. And here, 1 crit, 2 crit, 3 crit, 4 crit L2. We're gonna go for another L2 right here. 1, 2, 3. We crit on 7 of our 8 hits on the L2. That's just insanely lucky. Now, obviously, the fight would not have gotten scary no matter how many crits I got, because the L2 concussion would have stopped hazard shift from activating at all, and then we would have just baited L1s, thrown L2s until the fight went down, and it would have been completely fine. But obviously when you get a few crits like that, it can be pretty nice. He doesn't have the biggest hitting specials in the world, but when you get full crits, most special attacks feel really good. So now we have Lady Deathstrike on node 37, I think it is. There we throw a heavy attack into the air and get heal blocked. But Lady Deathstrike, unlike most defenders, is actually immune to regeneration rate reduction. So we are going to just have to make sure the regen always falls off. So whenever the timer starts, we have to back away until it goes away. Here we're going to go for a heavy attack into our L3 to get the trauma. My idea for this fight was that I was just going to be going for heavy attacks the entire fight and then wait for the regen passive to fall off, and obviously we're going to take care of the immunity. By the way, if you wanted to know the reason that the power gain is triggering, the node has... One of the nodes on this fight is that whenever the attacker triggers an immunity, the defender power gains, and the immunity that's being triggered is from the tactic, from Lady Deathstrike trying to inflict a buff on me that the tactic can deal with, but both the attacker tactic and our personal exhaustions are reducing the potency of that power gain down to 0, so she's actually not gaining power. This fight is actually really nice. This is one of the fights I was much happier with because I think I took Enchantress on this node with Luke Cage the first war of the season because someone died using Professor X and I had to clean it up. And it went really bad because I just played like garbage and I almost died on the cleanup. I think I ended with around 40% health. And this one's just going to go way, way better. We throw on an invuln. We're going to throw on one of our Mr. Fantastic pre-fights. All of my Mr. Fantastic pre-fights are for my own fights in this war. So I was told to put all 3 on Mangog, and I wasn't told to do anything with the 4th one. But I figured reducing the combat power rate, sorry, not the combat power rate, reducing the regeneration of a champion like Enchantress is probably the best thing I can do here. So yeah, we're going to deal with the L1. Here we're going to get rooted, but that's fine because we just need her to dash in so that we can do that. We unfortunately get a miss, and we are going to lose our Mr. Fantastic debuff, but that's okay because we are removing the tactic. At this point, we're still very healthy. I haven't taken a hit yet. Have I taken a hit? Well, my combo's only at 15, so I must have taken a hit at some point, unless I've been slow playing it like crazy. But yeah, we need to beta heavy here. Here she is going to throw it, so we are able to remove all of the charges except for one. And then here we're just going to ignore the damage reduction, do as much damage as we can, throw the L2, does a lot of damage. We want her to throw this L2 because the L2 does not put any spells up, and because we have 2 concussions, we are actually going to completely fail the ability accuracy of the root, so it literally cannot trigger. And then here we are just going to combo in, and that combo is going to take care of her. So that went way better than that matchup went last time, but I am very happy with it. So we'll go on to our next fight here. We have Weapon X on Hazard Shift with Ultron. I think I've done Weapon X on this very node 3 times this season. And I've also taken him on 44 once, the node right after this. So you just tend to see Weapon X here a lot, and Ultron just counters him no matter what node he's on. This is probably the best node you can place him on, just because it's the only one where Ultron is not immune to at least one of the DOT debuffs, but that doesn't really matter that much, because he does reduce the duration of both of them. And if you want to be extra safe, you can add an Odin and you'll take reduced damage and reduced duration from the shocks, but it's totally unnecessary because he reduces the duration enough there. I don't know why I didn't counter that. That was just really dumb of me. Throwing my L2 to get my Cauterize up, and I know why I didn't counter it. I didn't counter it because I wanted to let the Berserk mode fall off. That was it. And yeah, comboing here, and the nice thing is that when he does not have Berserk mode up, he does not regenerate any of the damage I'm dealing whatsoever. He is going to activate Berserk a second time in this fight right after this L2. He's going to throw his L1, but at this point the fight is basically over. Unless I decide to start taking combos to the face, this fight can't really go poorly from here. I think we're going to inflict our degens. Oh, we chose to not go for the heavy attacks. Okay. Probably because we're going to let Berserk fall off again. Yeah, there we go. And then we're going to parry, combo into L2. Yes, okay. That's probably smart. And we did actually get to our regeneration, which is not something that happens very often with Ultron, but that's fine. I mean, I'll take it. And we will go to our next fight here. We are up against Mangog on the mini-boss node, and this one does go a little bit better than last time. I think Mangog throws a total of 1 special attacks in this fight, and it was an L1. Because we just control the power rate so well, and Luke does so much damage that it's going to be very simple. So I think we're going to go in with an invuln that's going to last this fight and the next fight, if I recall correctly. Yeah, okay. So let's go in. We have the Mr. Fantastic pre-fights, and Luke gains attack rating for every unique debuff on the defender. So adding 3 more unique debuffs definitely doesn't hurt. I mean, it's totally not needed because Luke can counter this fight even without them, but I'll take extra damage, especially when I didn't need anyone else, and I managed to take 9 fights with just basically 2 champions. Yeah. Here we're going to go for our first L2 of the fight. I don't remember if this crits. Ooh, a really nice crit too. It only did that much damage because I had so many extra debuffs up. Yeah, here we're going to go for an L1. I think we're just going to kill from here. Is that insane to say? I don't know why I didn't go for an L1 there. In hindsight, I should have, because it would have stunned, and then I could have comboed into a striker, into a combo, and finish off the fight. I don't know, but it worked out. If he'd thrown an L1 there, he throws an L1 there. Don't really care. And then here we are waiting because a player is going to put a Wags on us for this final fight for Spiral, and I don't have the greatest amount of experience fighting Spiral. However, I do know that you want to just bait her L1s, and then while she has her swords up, you don't want to throw more than one light attack. So what we are going to do in this fight is we are going to absolutely keep the prowess and the puncture charges to a minimum. So you'll notice after about the first 15-20 seconds where I'm just trying to get up a bunch of exhaustions, I am going to change my play style so that I am simply just doing my combos, not worrying about fight time, just trying to control the node. Like here we're starting with 4-hit light combos, and here we're trying to beat the L1. I think, yeah, she is actually going to let the prowess expire, so we don't get hit on the block, obviously, with a single special attack this entire war that is going to have either a prowess or a puncture charge. Or this entire fight, I said this entire war. And yeah, obviously when the blades do go away, then we will do some more combos, but that's not going to be super often, and we just have to make sure to throw in a heavy attack every once in a while. And both the exhaustions and the debuffs from the tactic are going to completely take care of the power gain from the node. So don't have to worry about that. Going for an L2 here. I thought I was going to go for a heavy, but an L2 makes sense too. Yeah, just playing this fight slow. I don't 100% know the timing to counter the L1 or to dex it, so I'm just not going to bother. I'm just going to block it, and I know it's going to do absolutely nowhere near enough damage to kill me in this fight, so we're just going to keep doing that. I mean, we're at 75% here. We're looking very healthy, and she is going to go down. Nice crit on a heavy there. Going to go for my second L2 of the fight, and I think that is going to be it. I think the fight is now over. There, I went for a second light attack, and then before the attack hit, I realized I can't go for a light attack or I'll get stunned, so I panic through a striker to go into her block, and it did work out, because you are allowed to do that, because my light attack didn't land. Had that light landed, I'm not sure if that ability is susceptible to ability accuracy reduction, because I did have 2 concussions up, so it would have failed it, but it didn't matter because I reacted in time through a through a striker. And yeah, that is going to be it for my fights this war. Let me just... Oh, I went back too far. Sorry, the video is being really, really laggy. I don't know why. We'll stop it there. Anyways, unfortunately, we did lose this war. We put up, I think, 6 deaths or something like that. And CZSK, they had 3, one of which was a disconnect, so really 2. And yeah, unfortunately, pick up a loss. Would have been really nice to win that war, because it would have put us at 3-3 and given us a far better chance to place high this season. But we're just going to try to win every single war from here on out and do as best as we can. So we are now 2-4 on the season. I have a total of 3 deaths, 2 on my main, 1 on my ult, and my PSR this season is at 76 out of 79 fights soloed, or 96%, which is 36 out of 38 or 95% on my main, and 40 out of 41 or 98% soloed on my ult. Also, we do have a deathless streak of 14 because I had 15 fights this war and I died in the first one. My main my main account is at 5 streaks, so just the fights after the first war, and then my ult is at 13 now. Maybe you're wondering, why am I counting the death if it's to a bug? It's not really as black and white as something like a disconnect. So because it's in that gray area, I just don't care. Like, I'm just going to count it as a death. I didn't even consider it not counting it, but that's going to be all. Have a great day, everyone, and I will see you all in the next video.